interesting, perhaps even important to share a little session with some Yerushalaim rain behind us. Unique opportunity that I'm home while it's raining. And before we get to our main topic, I just want to say a side point of how do you ruin your kids? I mean, that's a little severe, right? Exaggerated, but how do you give your kids bad chinuch? Now you give your kids bad chinuch, and this is if you're in Eretz Yisrael, if you're in Baltimore, if you're in Alaska, if you're in New York, wherever you are, you're Toronto, New York, 5 towns. Oh, it's such a nasty day. The weather's so terrible. I hate the rain. It's so depressing. Now, that's bad because the ideas that we say to our children are what forms their minds and forms their understandings, their hashkafa. Hashkafa's outlook, their outlook on it. And for the rest of their life, they're going to look at that as negative. And that itself is a shame. Now, you might be a naturally upbeat person and positive and don't get depressed. And the fact you're saying it's depressing might, but you never know where your kids are going to end up. And giving them that understanding and that tfisa, that hashkafa, is going to stay with them. And it might take, Khalila, a depressive child or an unhappy child to make him more unhappy and more depressive. And the truth is, what's going on over here is beautiful. In Eretz Yisrael, for sure, it's beautiful, as our beautiful land becomes more beautiful. But it's beautiful around the world. As opposed to saying, like, negativity is coming down, tell your kids that chocolate milk is coming down, because that's what's going on. Because when the rain goes into the earth, and it does its job, as the Pasuk in Yeshaya says, it produces things, and it produces grass, and then the cows eat grass, etc. The cows drink water, and that's how chocolate milk is made, and that's how steak is made, and that's how plant-based, protein, lab-created salmon and eggs and kosher cheeseburgers are made also, because it's all somehow coming from the rain. So it's delicious, and besides all the many other benefits that happen from rain, and it's true about all the weather. Every season is awesome, and every season is beautiful, and that's first off a true tfis about hashkafa, to see that Kadosh Baruch Hu is creating a nice world for us, and there's a nice world, and all the seasons are needed. The winter, the land needs the winter, and the sun is producing fruits, megadim, pre megadim, etc. One of the most famous farm in Shulchan Aruch is called Pri Megadim. Megid, Shemesh, Psukim and V'zos HaBracha. All the seasons are great. Did Rebbeinu Shalom create a bad world? Is that where we're teaching it? B'yar kol hashas avinei tov mode. Let's take that in a simple way. These aren't my own ideas, but these are ideas from Chashuv Rabbanim that I think are very important to share. Okay, that relates a little bit to our topic, but not so much. And the topic I want to share now is, I hope that we're all inspired and have been inspired. I'm trying to inspire myself to engage in cheshbon and nefesh a little bit, as we saw the second Perek of Mesilas Yesharim, which was about zihirus, and zihirus means being watchful of our actions, and there's a necessity, as Mesilas Yesharim himself is going to describe practically also a lot more in coming practice. But already now, I just wanted to jump in and give a little practical advice on doing a cheshbon and nefesh. I wrote down just a few notes, no way comprehensive, but things which I think will be helpful to us. So the first thing is, our nature is when we make a cheshbon nefesh, we go negative. Let's think about where we've done badly and the areas where we haven't been who we have. I'm going to make a t-shirt called Go Negative. They have GoPro, Go Negative. We're so it's so easy to us, it's so ready to us, so natural to go negative, right? But that's not good. Be positive also. First off, because I'm not just saying some pop psychology thing. There are positive things you're doing. And when you're aware of the positive things you're doing, you say, oh, I should do more of them. You can feel good about them. That's whole midah sasson, right? I am accomplishing. I'm learning this way. I'm doing daf yomi. I am being nice to my wife. I am taking care of the house like my husband likes. I'm doing all these wonderful things. I'm doing chesed my. And then I want to do more of that. I can do even more of that. If I'm doing so well with daf yomi, maybe now I can make a 10-minute a day nach seder. Perhaps now is the time. Maybe have that. I do have that little pocket between after I finish my lunch and the next patient, client, computer program appointment comes in. I can get another seder in because I'm building on the positive. It's an obvious thing. But again, I'm not giving motivational speech right now. I'm talking about how to do a cheshbon nefesh. When one pinpoints and notes where he's doing well and where she's doing well, it's that much easier to go forward and keep doing more positive things. And of course, so it's a correct thing to do. And also, in terms of us looking at cheshbon nefesh as something which we want to engage in, well, it always turns to depression, right? No one wants depression, right? Oh, that's positive, though. No one wants depressive things. So if we relate to cheshbon nefesh, evaluation, self-reflection, self-evaluation as negative because we only take it in a negative way, we're not going to want to do it. But if we see it as something positive, we're going to want to do it. So it's a correct thing to do because it will lead us to good cheshbon nefesh, and it's a correct thing to do because it will keep us positive about engaging in it. Okay? Another thing I want to share, super important, is to look for low-hanging fruit. Look for low-hanging fruit. I assume everybody knows what low-hanging fruit is, but just think about the idea. You have a tree, a cherry tree, an apple tree. Let's make it a cherry tree, right? I was going to go to Japan, and we went to cherry picking in next to Taiwan, no, next to Tokyo, right? Went to next to Tokyo, and here we were picking cherries, and there are cherries on the top, which might be very luscious, but they're really hard to reach. You got to get the special cherry picker, and so the expression to get them. But they're low-hanging fruit. They're cherries below, which are available. Now, again, when one goes into cheshbon nefesh mode, often they go to a negative mode, and they think often we go to the areas which are most difficult to us, most anxiety bringing for us, and most guilt riding for us, because that's where we live to a certain extent. Now, those are very, very important areas to deal with, right? Our real struggle areas, but that's another shmooze. But in cheshbon nefesh, don't just go to those areas. Think about where the low-hanging fruits of improvement and tikkun, positive and negative, not asay and lo tasay, zirus and zerizus, where the low-hanging fruits in my life where I can improve. And I want to give some examples, and for sure, each example might not relate to you, and all my examples might not relate to you, because I'm not you, and I'm not talking about things which are low-hanging for me or not, but there are many, many areas of low-hanging fruits. I'll give an example. Something like notes. You might not be coming on time to shul. Now, that might be a very, very trouble area for you. That's not a low-hanging fruit. But it might be something which is quite simple to you. You just never really thought about it because maybe your dad or your community or whatever, people don't come on time to shul, or you just got into a bad funk about it, a little bit of bad habit. But you're really a very, very timely person. In all other areas of your life, you're timely. So you just kind of have to recalibrate your brains. Low-hanging doesn't mean put in no effort, right? You can the low-hanging cherries could be there, but if you don't take the effort, go over, place yourself in the right place, don't slip, and have a place to put the cherries, you're not going to do it. We're not looking for a non-effort. There's no non-effort life. That's something else, right? That's not avodas Hashem. That's not real life. That's not Yiddishkeit. There's effort, but it doesn't have to be crazy effort. And it's still you would, that area for you would still be called low-hanging. Oh yeah, I just have to recalibrate. Like, why am I coming late to shul? Like that's not me. Just I'm going to set my alarm 5 minutes earlier. Hit the snooze. Have one coffee, not two coffees, etc. And I'll be on time 2 minutes early. Put my tefillin. I'll be ready to go and I can have a nice Psukah Zimmer. Not a big challenge area for me. Why am I not doing that? So that simple recalibration led you to an incredible tikkun, which can really fix you, right? All the negatives about coming late to shul, if it's missing out on saying key things, if it's being a bad example to other people, right? If it's continuing this thing where people start to less and less. You know, my Rebbe Rav Leichter joked one time that we have to put the Birkas Shachar at the end of our chakras. Because so many people come late, they don't have time to say Birkas Shachar at the beginning, they say at the end. That's not the way Birkas Shachar is built. Birkas Shachar is built to be where it is in the center, right? And not rushing through putting on tefillin, and not rushing through putting on tefillin. Ma tov asher tzavanta l'reacha, ma tov, right? To feel good when you put on a talis, feel the Rebbeinu Shalom little when you put on a talis. Not to feel, we all know how different it is when we're rushed in shul and not rushed in shul. To say the words, pay attention, right? So many people have no meaning when they say Ashrei, and when they say Mizmor L'Soda, when they say Haluka, when they say Az Yashir, because they're rushing. So anything that, you go out with your wife and you're rushing the whole time. You go out with your husband, you're rushing the whole time. Oh, we have 5 minutes, let's just go. That's not. So there's a perfect example. For certain people, again, if you're saying, oh, he doesn't know me, he doesn't understand my struggle, this is where I struggle, I get it. By the way, it's a struggle area for me too. So, but for some of you, it is low hang. A few brachos with kavanah, right? That might be a very simple thing to make a few brachos with kavanah. Like I just go by the whole day and have kavanah. Oh, there is that time for when I make hamotzi at lunch. I am a little bit settled. I can't focus. Again, it's going to have some effort, but it's low-hanging. Living generally within the correct zmanim. Some people don't forgot that Yiddishkeit is demanding of our time. And we're supposed to daven mincha at a certain time and shachar at a certain time. We're certainly supposed to say Kriya Shema at a certain time. We're supposed to say Kriya Shema by a certain time at night, right? The Rabbani is supposed to say Kriya Shema before Chatzos to calibrate that. Now, again, someone says, like, listen, I'm a Me'al Hazman type person. That's not low-hanging fruit for you, but for many of us, it will be. Not using certain words or tones with your spouse. Some of us get into like a bad habit that we use certain words or tones that we don't want to with our spouse, our husbands, or our wives. So that might be, a very, very big habit for you already. It needs a tremendous amount of work, etc. But it might be for you a low-hanging fruit. Yeah, you just have to like recalibrate. I don't want to use those words. That's not me. And now with a quick note of something, you fixed yourself, and you're not going to use that anymore. It's divorced from you, and it's finished and out of your way anymore. I don't speak like that anymore. I'm not going to use that tone. I'm not going to use that word. That's it. Done. Simple. Boom. And your life is improved. And your Rosh Yeshivah is improved. Giving your kids more quality time. For some of us, that's such a challenge because we're so connected to our phones or whatever. We're always distracted. Always have our business or things on our heads. So we don't give our kids quality time. Quality time for some of us, it might just be a question of schedule a little bit. Like realize, where can I just make sure to give my kid the quality time, the focus time? That's not a big challenge for me, but it's such a lack right now, and I can fix it. Low-hanging fruit. Having some boundaries with phones, right? To get the whole phone situation and the whole internet situation, as many tzaddikim say and gedolim say, and anybody with their eyes open, I believe, says, this is one of the challenges of the generation. It's a challenge of the generation. Okay, good. So maybe I can't get it fully right, but I can put some boundaries on myself. I could put, maybe my phone needs a filter. Maybe I just have to turn it off by a certain point at night, not see it till a certain time. Making some boundaries is low-hanging fruit. You just haven't thought about it. You just gone with the flow, right? You've let Steve Jobs, and as I always like to say, quoting Social Dilemma, you let 25 to 30-year-old white guys, many of who study in Stanford, run your life. Don't let them run your life. I don't need a guy from Stanford running my life. You know what I mean? I went to better university. I went to the Yeshiva University. I went to Mesilas. I was around geniuses. I don't need a guy from Stanford running my life. So I'm going to make some boundaries. Low-hanging fruit. Eating more healthy, right? At least part of the time. A person can... eating and dieting is a challenge for many of us. A lot of people using Ozempic to help them. Very good. Or whatever the thing is I forget what it's called in the States, but and London, very good. But some are just eating. Are you eating enough vegetables? Are you whatever tikkun you make and eating more healthy is helpful, right? Eating more vegetables, drinking more, all this stuff. So for some of us, no, I just my food's all over the place. Well, no, but maybe it's just low hanging fruit. You never sat. You never did cheshbon nefesh. You never considered a place and a way where you can be more conscious about what you eat and put less junk into ourselves. Exercising some, right? For some of us, is an obvious thing. I just get out there, I run. I'm out there. I had a friend just ran a marathon, and not one of the things I think I'm going to imagine myself doing too fast. But are you exercising at all? Like that's important for your Avodas Hashem, for your simcha, for all that stuff, right? We don't want to be sick, and we need to exercise. So again, maybe getting into an everyday regiment is beyond this, but that might be low-hanging fruit just to improve in those ways. So those are just a bunch of random examples that came to my mind. I hope the principle is clear. Each person is an olam malei, right? Each person is an own world. And for all of us, there is low-hanging fruit. There are areas which are not difficult to fix. Effort, yes. Picking the cherries, even if they're low, is effort. There's no efforts. Get out of that mindset, right? AI is not going to take us out of it. Our robots are not going to be, right? Why are robots not ultimately a challenge of Avodas Hashem? Because Avodas Hashem means Avodas Hashem, right? A robot is not going to daven for you. He's not going to learn for you. He's not going to be nice for you. If we would use them correct, then we would get rid of all this side point, and then we could focus on our Avodas Hashem, like the Rambam says. Unfortunately, we're using it incorrectly, but that's another talk. But friends, those are two. We'll hopefully be sharing other practical ideas about cheshbon nefesh as we're dealing more in the deep world of Mesilas Yesharim. He himself is going to come up and give us a lot of advice and a lot of the setting for what it means to really evaluate and really be involved in Zehirus in a correct way. But I wanted to take this divergence and just bring it down a little bit in a very practical way in our way. And those are two things to keep in mind in a correct evaluation of cheshbon nefesh. Number one, Let's remember as we engage in Cheshbon Nefesh, not just to be involved in negative things. Let's think about our positive things and how we can build them, right? And two, let's think about where there's low-hanging fruits of Avodas Hashem in Torah, Avodah, and Gemil Skalim we can engage in as Bezrat Hashem. Every little small improvement we make is so significant, so relevant, so beloved to the Rebbeinu Shalom in our times and in all times. And with that, we will grow and grow. Thank you.